Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. Jessie from Tonkadale Greenhouse is going to help me choose the perfect plant for the people in my life. And then, Peggy and I are doing a 10-minute tidy, and we're tackling my medicine cabinet. And finally, it's science time with Liz Heineke. We're in the kitchen talking about the science of cooking. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happi. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. How to choose the perfect plant for the people in your life, brought to you by Supermoms. Jessie, it's an understatement to say that you are good with plants.
I'm one with the plants.
Uh-huh.
You're right about that.
Yes, so I have come to you because I have 4 people I would like to purchase plants for, and I'm hoping you can help me decide what the perfect plant for them is.
Absolutely.
Okay, the first person is my mom.
Your mom.
And I would say she's not super busy, so she has some time to care for plants, and she lives in a condo with a pretty big sliding glass door, but I don't think she wants something super fussy. What do you think for her?
What about, like, what size? Like for
What
a
size
table
plant?
or a side table? What do you think?
You know, I think a side table would be
Side
nice.
table?
Mhm.
Well, for your mom, I'm gonna pick this cute African violet. African violets are kind of a vintage plant. They're like surging in popularity, and it adds some color and probably would bring back some memories for your mom of perhaps generations before her that cared for African violets.
Okay, I love that. It's so pretty. And I love the container it's in. I think that's part of the fun too when choosing the perfect plant gift for somebody.
Yeah, so I love the geometric blue. A lot of people have blue in their homes, so this would work well for your mom. You just want to make sure that she waters it by placing it in a dish of water from the bottom.
Not on the top.
Not on the leaves.
Okay.
The leaves don't like to be wet.
I think she can handle that.
Okay.
That is very pretty
go,
and
Mom.
just the right size for a condo, honestly. So, okay, the next person is my daughter.
Okay.
She is 18 and in a college dorm room. So I think plants are just so cheery and make you feel good.
They actually make you smarter.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So what would you recommend?
And more creative.
And more creative? Okay. What would you
And more
recommend
funny.
for her? And more, all of it. It's all happening.
So dorm room, also probably a smaller space. I have 2 recommendations, just kind of depending on how much space she wants to take up.
Okay.
So the snake plant, Sansevieria, it comes in different colors, but this one is like no fail, never fail plant. It can take low light, it can take all kinds of light exposure, basically no water, grows rather slowly, so it's not going to be like taking over, and it can just kind of hang out.
Okay.
But that might be too big.
It might be. I think next year she's thinking of an apartment, and that would be
So we'll
cool.
send that to the apartment. Okay.
Yes.
So dorm room, a little bit smaller. You know, that age group is going to think succulents are kind of trendy and hip.
Yes.
Is that the word?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it is.
Okay. So we have these really cute zigzag containers, and you can just like mix and match different succulents. Succulents require bright light if possible. However, they will last for a semester in a low light location and be fine. They need very little water. They grow slowly, so you can just kind of plop an assortment in there, or if you wanted to, you could plant some smaller items in a plant like this.
I really love this because she lives close to kind of a natural foods grocery store where she could then, if something went wrong, go ahead and pop these in for a fairly inexpensive, or use this container for storing like nicks and doodads and paper clips and all kinds of stuff. So
Love it.
perfect.
Great size for a desk.
I love that.
Okay, what else
Okay.
are you shopping for?
Then my friend and I both recently moved our offices, and I want to get her, we have pretty big windows, I want to get her a nice plant to put in her office window. Neither one of us is necessarily great with plants.
Okay.
So something pretty easy.
One of my favorite plants is bromeliads. So bromeliads are known for their leaves that are colored. They kind of look like pineapples. Remember the universal symbol of hospitality?
Yes.
And so what we've done here is just group together a trio of bromeliads. And they can take kind of extreme conditions. I've had good luck with them in many different locations in my home. Low light up to bright light, but not direct sunlight, because that can kind of burn and fade the color.
That's perfect. And I love this because it's got sort of a clean look, and I think she'd really like that. And luckily for us, our windowsills are pretty deep, so I think this is perfect.
That'll
for
fit
her.
on the windowsill. Awesome.
Yes. Last but not least, I want to get myself a new plant. I want to freshen things up around my house. It's always great to change things up, and I think that they do really brighten your day to see some green and something alive.
Totally. And it just kind of finishes up your home decor look.
Yeah.
So I've chosen this philodendron for you, Happi. It requires absolutely no care.
This is not a real plant. What are you saying about me?
Oh, wait. What? But Happi, on a more serious note, there is a place in this world for artificial plants.
And maybe my home is one of those places.
I don't know. Can you take a hint?
You know what? I want to bring up a valid point though. This is beautiful. You would not know that
Right.
this was an artificial plant. So I really like it. And I like the shape of it. And it'd be great on a bigger table or on the floor.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Jesse, this has been helpful. Ring me up.
Let's go.
Coming up next on the Happy House, Peggy and I are doing a 10-minute tidy and we're tackling this. This 10-minute tidy is brought to you by Supermoms. Peggy, we all have those areas in our house that we open a cupboard door or open a drawer and we're like, woo, and you hope no one sees it that's outside of your family.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy for those things to get out of hand. But I feel like if you tackle one little thing at a time, so one drawer or one shelf, it's easy to begin sort of getting on top of those messes.
It's not as insurmountable.
Yes.
Set a timer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today, you're so lucky you came to visit me, and we're going to tackle
Oh, you're coming to my house next, so.
We are going to tackle, and this is more fun with a friend,
It
actually.
is, it sure is.
And I feel like I can trust you. You're not going to shame me about this. Okay. So we went up and tackled the cupboard in my bedroom where I keep a lot of cosmetics and shampoos and just supplies in general. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm kind of a sample hoarder, and it's a problem. So we're going to be dealing with that. But first I want to go over some tips that you and I have kind of come up with for helping people tackle these projects.
All right.
The first one is look for garbage. Look for things that you just don't even need anymore and put those in a toss pile.
Yep.
And then the second is maybe look for donation items or
Yes.
things that you can give away.
That's great. Yep. The third that we came up with was look for things that don't belong there, like go in the study or belong in the
In a different
bathroom or
cupboard.
wherever. Yeah.
Yep. And then the fourth thing happens after this process, which is maybe set a little reminder either a month from now or 2 months from now to check this very same area and see where you're at, because it's going to be a much quicker process to keep up on it.
I'm going to do that on my phone.
Yeah.
Just keep it easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy breezy. One little piece at a time, Peggy.
And it's going to look great when we're done.
I am going to dump this out and we are going to see. Okay, we've got some treasures here.
We got some work to do.
So first of all, I can see that. What is that?
Garbage is the number one thing, right?
Yeah,
garbage.
garbage.
Although, you could use it for.
Well, I think that can go. I can see that these actually go into a different closet I have in my house. I bought these when I was on a trip and then just shoved them wherever when I got home.
Keep it with your other paper products.
I'm going to keep it with that.
Okay.
These 2 bottles of lotion I have had for a little while, and I just actually don't particularly like the texture of this one. I don't like the scent of this one. So I'm going to toss these.
I know somebody who would like this.
This?
Yeah. Yeah.
Over half
My little
full.
kiddo.
Score.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and then this is going to go in my toss, actually.
Okay. It looks like these are awesome samples, which are really fun, and maybe you've smelled them or not smelled them, but you know what I like to do with the ones that maybe I don't like is put, I keep them in like a stocking stuffer pile, like
Okay.
for my mom or one of my girls. Or
That's
whatever,
awesome.
you
So
know?
kind of in the donate pile.
yeah.
And here we've got a lot of perfume.
Yep.
We also have a lot of face products and different like serums, because
Okay.
apparently when I go and receive makeup samples, they think I need an eye lift cream or something like that. So
Someone needs it.
Someone
but
needs it.
Not us.
maybe. So I think we should sort the perfume and then and all just sort of the different categories. And then once we do that, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff here I would donate.
Also, if things are unopened, like women's shelters and things like that, I think
take
food
those
shelves will
products.
often take
that's
those things too.
That's a great idea. So over here we have a hodgepodge of supplies, most of them hair. What?
Do you use those?
Velcro rollers? Well, obviously, who doesn't use a Velcro roller?
Okay.
I mean, am 75 or 80 years old in my life. So yes,
All right, we'll group those together.
I use these. However, I really like these hair clips. I use them a lot. All of these in here are duds because they don't grip in my hair. And so I'm going to toss. Those all go in the garbage. Garbage.
All right,
Okay.
good. Already.
We've got a good start here. I think we should just keep going.
Let's go.
And one other thing when we're looking for garbage is possibly expiration dates too.
Yes,
Because
yes,
I do
that's
not know
great.
how long I've had some of these items.
Good.
So-
That and when you're going through your medicine drawer and stuff like that, or cabinet. Good.
All right. Well, we're already
do it.
on our way. That's garbage. I don't know what to do with that pin. This did not take us that long, honestly.
Like 9-10 minutes.
Yeah. We sorted everything into categories, and then from those categories, I pulled the things out that I knew I wanted to donate. So we have a nice donation pile here. We also have this bin full of trash that we're going to throw away. And then I'm going to reload these bins.
These are the keepers.
And bring them up to my closet.
Good job. You did it.
Yay! Peggy, thanks for coming over and helping me with this. What are we going to do at your house? What you got?
Same, only different. Same, only different.
All right. I'm happy to help.
All right, I'm gonna get out my calendar, write you down. When you coming? Let's do it.
Up next on the Happy House, I'm back with Liz Heineke, but we're in the kitchen talking about the science of cooking. Today's science and cooking segment is presented to you by Supermoms. Liz, you are a scientist extraordinaire and banjo player, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But something different that we're doing today is cooking. And what I think is so cool about it is we're going to talk about the science behind the cooking. And we're just doing it as moms today. But what I love about this is then we can take this forward and talk to our kids about the science behind what happens in cooking.
Yeah, and cooking is science. And it's great to talk to them about the science because the more they understand about what they're doing, the more they can apply it to other recipes and other things they do when they cook.
I love it. So what are we making today?
Today we're making breadsticks, which is basically just pizza dough. It's a really simple bread dough.
How do we get started?
Okay, the ingredients are really simple. You need a cup of water, 3 cups of flour, a couple teaspoons of yeast, a little salt for flavor, and then we're going to add some olive oil too, just to make it taste good. So the first thing we are going to do is start growing our yeast because yeast is actually a living organism. Hold out your hand. I'm going to put a little yeast in your hand. If you look at yeast under a microscope, it actually looks like tiny balloons. It's really cool. But yeast is a fungus, and it's related to like mushrooms.
Okay.
And it's dehydrated now, but by adding it to water, we can make it grow. So this is a package of yeast. It's about 2 teaspoons. We are gonna put it in here. And we are gonna mix it in. We'll just use this little spatula. As we add it to the water, what's gonna happen is the yeast is gonna be rehydrated. It's gonna start to grow. And we are gonna let it sit in the water. I'm using warm water instead of really cold water because that just helps it
I was going to ask you
get
that.
going faster. Yeah, not hot water because that can kill it. It's alive.
Okay.
You don't want to add salt directly to the water because that can also kill it.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna let this grow. Some people call this proofing the yeast. Yeast is really cool. It was discovered sort of by the ancient Egyptians, they think, about 4,000 years ago. So people have been using it forever to grow, to make bread, to leaven bread. It makes it rise. And how it does this is it eats the sugar and flour. It makes carbon dioxide gas, which makes little bubbles in the bread dough, and that's what makes the bread puff up. Wow. And have you heard of Louis Pasteur?
I have.
He is the one that discovered that yeast is the organism that makes bread rise.
Wow.
Okay, so we have in here 3 cups of flour. If you're making bread and you want it to be nice and chewy, you need to use a flour with a high gluten content.
Okay.
Because when you add water to it, it makes the gluten sort of swell up and it forms all these fibers sort of that make it nice and chewy.
Okay.
First, we're gonna add some salt to the flour, okay? So we add about a teaspoon salt. I've cooked a lot, so I can just kind of guess.
Yes, that's good.
And then go ahead and mix it up. We're gonna get, it's always good to mix your dry ingredients together before you add them to your wet ingredients, right? So we're gonna go ahead, keep stirring. I'm gonna go ahead and pour the yeast in here. Okay. So now what's going to happen is the yeast, like I said, it's alive, it's a fungus. It's going to start breaking down the proteins and the sugars in the bread flour. And when it does that, it's going to make carbon dioxide gas. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of olive oil to it too. This will do a couple things.
Splashy.
Yep. This will keep it from sticking too much to the pan. We'll probably also grease the pan a little bit. Okay, so
All right. So
now
I've
what I'm
got
going to do,
this.
let's just go ahead and dump it out. I'll do it. Yeah, dump it out on the board. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to knead the flour. I'm going to pull up my sleeves here. Okay, so we're going to get it all together in one ball. And this is just incorporating the flour and the water together, right? And the yeast. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have you knead it. So when I knead bread, I usually just sort of mush it out into a blob, fold it over on itself, and then really get your palms in there.
Okay.
Then turn it a half turn and do it again. And you can feel it getting tough. It's kind of cool. Gluten is kind of like chewing gum. So you know how when you put a piece of gum in your mouth, it's just kind of hard and dry?
Yeah.
You put it in your mouth, the water, your saliva adds to it, and then you start chewing it. That's kind of what we're doing to the bread.
I kind of
It
want to
makes
make
it
our own
soft.
chewing gum
It
sometime.
yeah, we should do that. That'd be fun. It forms these long strands, and then it holds bubbles, just like chewing gum, right? So the carbon dioxide that is being formed by the yeast as it's eating the sugars in here makes little bubbles, and they're going to get trapped in these long gluten fibers, proteins that we've made.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to let it rise, right? We're going to put it here. We're going to cover it with another bowl to keep it moist, and the yeast is going to eat the sugars in the flour. It's going to make carbon dioxide gas, and it is going to puff up.
Okay.
Then what we'll do, it'll be all puffy. We're going to flour a board. We are going to spread it out. And have you ever tossed pizza dough before?
I have not.
This isn't obviously very smooth yet because it hasn't risen, but to toss pizza dough, you make it flat.
Are you going to toss this right now?
Well, I'm going to try, but it hasn't risen yet, so it's not a very nice texture. You make it flat. You kind of get your hands under here.
Yeah.
Go like that. You catch it. You do it again. You keep going like that.
I'm so impressed right now.
And then you can either make it into a pizza, or if you want breadsticks for an awesome snack, you get it out flat, you get a pizza cutter, you cut it into strips, and then you bake it. And bake it around 350.
Okay. For how long? Like 8 minutes?
Just check it 8 to 10 minutes. You know what? When your kids are in the kitchen, let them try it. They're experimenting.
Yes.
Have them try different amounts of time. See what works the best. Have them knead it once or twice or 3 times. See what makes the best breadsticks. If they want it more tender, they can add a little bit of sugar to the dough.
Okay. Just let them figure it out.
It's kitchen science.
I love it. Okay, Liz, we're going to let this rise, and then we are going to bake up our breadsticks and try them.
I'm hungry.
Okay.
Here, take mine. Okay. Okay, so what you're gonna do, switch it out, then just kind of like turn it. Yeah. Okay, wait. Here, okay, I'm fixing this one. Okay. And then kind of just like stretch it with your hands like this, just wobble it back and forth. Okay, do this.
Just to keep giving me the better thing.
Okay, now spin it a lot. Spin it a lot. There you go, higher though. Throw it higher.
Higher?
You want to try it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh! That was my bad.
That was so good. So good.
So good. Okay. So now let's make our breadsticks.
Okay.
Dough loves to be kneaded. It loves to be pushed around. Okay.
Should I slice this on the cookie sheet, or can I slice it here?
No, let's slice it on here and move it to the cookie sheet.
All right. So, and I think kids would really love this.
They can braid the dough. They can make it into shapes. You know, make it creative too. It doesn't have to be boring. Okay, so we have our breadsticks. Do we have a cookie sheet?
We do, right here, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to.
Should we spray this with oil, or what do you think?
No, there's a little olive oil on here. Let's just rub it on.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's how I roll in the kitchen.
That's how I roll in the kitchen.
Okay, and then you can lay them down flat. You can twist them. Doesn't that look kind of pretty?
I just broke one, but it's fine. That's okay. A breadstick.
Perfection is boring, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's really all about how they taste, and these are going to be delicious. All right, so you know what? I think we're going to brush them with olive oil, because that olive oil is a fat, right? That'll make them nicely brown when they bake. And then should we sprinkle Parmesan on some of them?
I think so. It sounds delicious. How about salt? Do we need more salt?
Yeah, let's sprinkle a tiny bit of salt too. And let kids do their own, you know. My kids will each know exactly which breadstick is theirs, depending on how they designed it. All right. And then they can put, you know, put whatever they like on. If there's Parmesan, you probably don't need salt, so let's just salt the ones on the end.
Okay.
How do they look?
Perfect.
They're gonna be
They
so
look
delicious.
so good. All right, I'm gonna pop these in the oven.
Okay.
350 for about 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, just check them when they're golden brown.
Yep.
You know, you might have to taste them to check them to make sure they're done.
I am the
do you
royal
think?
taster at my house.
So am I.
All right,
Some people call me the garbage disposal. Okay.
that's another thing
Yeah,
too. I
okay.
prefer royal taster.
Me too.
Okay.
Sounds better.
All right, let's pop these in.
Okay.
Liz, our breadsticks are done. And one thing I'm going to talk about, it might have been all the tossing, presentation fail possibly because grown-ups actually made these.
My kids would make much prettier breadsticks than these, but who cares how they look,
I
right?
think so too.
Let's
We're going to
try
try one.
Are you dipping yours? Or are you a dipper?
for sure.
No double dipping.
No. So then you dip the other end. Okay.
Oh, they're really good. Aren't they? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those are
I'm
good.
dipping one.
Cheers. Now I have to chew this to say the thing. To learn more about Liz Heineke, or ask her some science questions, or show us some better looking breadsticks than this, visit the Happy House Facebook page. I have never ever heard this happen before.